Can and will ZeroSpace be released in 2026? Well, having played its campaign and other single and multiplayer game modes during the recent closed playtest, which was available at the very end of 2025, I have some thoughts to share with you on that topic. I also received info from inside the development team, so by the end of the video, I will give you a timeline on what you can expect from ZeroSpace and when it might be released. On that note, if you haven't played it in its latest test or any of the previous ones, your next opportunity will be during the Steam Next Fest in February of 2026. So put a pin in your calendar for an open demo of ZeroSpace from the 23rd of February to the 2nd of March 2026. Now let's start with the campaign gameplay first. So far, devs have crafted about a dozen missions, of which we can already play the first few, but the final version might include up to 40 missions. What they have already zeroed in, pun intended, are the story, characters, lore and atmosphere. This is a campaign in the final stage of development, meaning they have all the elements ready, they're just putting them together as they craft new missions and switch out placeholder elements for those that can be in the release version. There are cinematics, RPG-like choices to make during missions, and interactive conversations in between those missions on your ship's deck, all leading to eventual branching missions and differences in which side characters you will have available and can upgrade later on.
Why are they settling outside the core?
They've got nowhere else to go. Protectorate code mandates that we have a duty to act.
Only if the distress signal comes from within the Seven.
Missions definitely feel handcrafted and are not just a collection of combat scenarios with story and characters sprinkled in. I also very much liked how you could lose even in the very first mission on normal difficulty settings. It happened to me when I chose to ignore basic gameplay concepts, like using otherwise unreachable high ground with my long-range troops equipped with rocket packs against enemy melee opponents. One RTS standard campaign approach you will recognize is missions crafted in a way to directly show you how to best benefit from each new unit and ability you are introduced to. This means that not only did developers make sure to produce a narrative storytelling campaign, but also to implement it through handcrafted missions and specific maps for each new addition to your combat arsenal of units and abilities. This is certainly not an easy task, but if done right, it will put ZeroSpace's campaign in the rank of AAA games which have set those high benchmarks to begin with. As I explained in my video overview of upcoming RTS games in 2026, storytelling and atmosphere are two of my personal basic requirements for a fun RTS game, and so far ZeroSpace devs show that they have those covered. If you haven't seen my video in which more than 30 RTS game developers explain what makes RTS games fun and how their games will achieve this, it will be linked up here and down in the description. As for my third personal basic requirement for a fun RTS game, that being technical performance, we can take a look at both multiplayer 1v1 and free-for-all skirmish versus AI. Here we can see how proper pathfinding works in ZeroSpace, how units precisely obey available commands, and just how intuitive the economy system is, as well as the base building and upgrades. No matter if you're playing any of the 4 factions, or in any of the game modes from campaign and co-op to versus, survival and Galactic War, there are a few gameplay elements which make ZeroSpace's RTS gameplay different to most games you're used to. First, the automated extractors instead of workers at the HQ and each new expansion. If you can't recognize the HQs, that is because they have been heavily changed lately, along with a lot of other things, all of which you can read in the game's huge patch notes. Second feature that gives a unique gameplay feel to ZeroSpace is a global build, recruit and upgrade UI interface, which means you will never have to click on individual buildings, once you get out of the habit of doing so, like I have yet to do. Third, the ability to queue up buildings and units even when you don't have the resources required for them. Fourth is the combined command card at the bottom of the screen, which shows up when you select all your units, and from it you can activate any of their abilities instantly via hotkeys. I should also point out that the devs have already implemented replays with full instant rewind and instant forward, along with spectator and observer modes with special observer and spectator follow cameras. When you want to set up a custom match, you can do so with the use of over 20 mutators. These are special customization options you can attach to each individual player, be he AI or human, as well as the overall match. With these options, you can basically create new custom game modes on the fly. I'm sure many fans of skirmish and custom games will find lots of uses for these, and in doing so increase the replayability of this game mode by a lot. I'm going to give you a much more in-depth look at the Galactic War gameplay mode, which is almost a sort of a light MMO RTS unto itself in a future video, along with an overview of the factions, heroes and mercenaries. But now let's talk about the release dates and the content expectations. First of all, yes, this is going to be an early access game for a time. I know. I don't particularly like this plan either, as I have seen so many games lose their players over time to a point almost no one cares by the time they launch the full version. On the other hand, a full release, but where you have to add super weapons and a third faction as a free content upgrade, like in the case of Tempest Rising, isn't good either. But from a financial standpoint, this is what devs of ZeroSpace have to do. So, around the second quarter of 2026, meaning probably March or April if I go by some of the info I received from folks in the dev team, we can expect to get an early access version of ZeroSpace. But let's face it, there is probably going to be some sort of delay, so more like in May of 2026. This version is most likely going to have the first third of the single player campaign, so around a dozen or more missions, with the rest coming in during 2027 and the game's full release. Since these missions won't take you long to go through, probably 10 to 20 hours depending on your skill or chosen difficulty level, and how much you care about the story and characters, you will of course need more game modes to play.
Diligence, and above all, loyalty.
Now, this is where my info is far less reliable. There are a lot of single, co-op and multiplayer modes in ZeroSpace, but I can't exactly say right now which of these will be fully playable for the early access release. For the versus mode and custom matches, where you can play against other players, or the AI with a dozen different difficulty levels across a multitude of maps in ranked, 1v1, 2v2 and free-for-all modes, I am fairly confident it will be part of this release. As for the co-op survival with friends, where you fight an endless onslaught of enemies and try to reach a new high score, probably. But for the Galactic War with its light MMORTS features, player alliances and many different types of game modes playable in co-op with AI or human players, along with a few more features devs have yet to show us, I am far less confident about. It might be rolled out in sections or as a testbed, but as a final version of it, I highly doubt it. So there you go, my answer is that ZeroSpace can make its mark in 2026 as an RTS with a lot of potential, high quality campaign content and a bunch of different multiplayer modes. While its developers claim it will do so, but starting as an early access version in about 4 months from now. Feel free to share your impressions or predictions in the comments below, and I will continue to bring you more such videos and games as we are going to have a very busy year ahead of us, full of RTS game releases in some form or other.